niche is, before I really don't know my niche. Because like parang, I'd rather do everything. You know, whatever, anything under the sun, that's what I want. But I realized when I was doing, kung sineryoso ko na yung filming, na-realize ko na it's very important because how can you find the people who will support you if you don't know what do you really want to do actually? So you really need to find your niche. So my name, not yet. Can you go back? So my YouTube channel is Markipelago because my name is Mark and I came from an archipelago called Philippines. So that's Markipelago. So kind of play on words. And also I am part of Pinoy Tayo. Is that how you pronounce it? Pinoy Tayo. Parang ganun. I'm helping them with the video content, and we're doing Uncut with Kuna Tapanu of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So yeah, we'll be delivering COVID news and stuff like that. Yep, I did a training and I went studying with iFilm UK when they came here in Bangkok. So my school sent me there for my continuous professional development. So I hope I can share. It's an honor and a privilege to share with you guys the things that I actually am doing at work, or daily things that I do. Editing, filming, shooting, whatever, producing. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't really just...
How many are we here?
Few more. Yeah, I don't promote my YouTube much because, I don't know, I just make films. That's not my goal, to be famous or popular. This is my passion to do documentary filming. Yeah, I just want to communicate things that I'm passionate about. Yep, so next. All right, so yeah, I've been here in Thailand for almost 4 years, no, actually almost 5 years. I've been to the oceans, I've been to the tribes doing documentary filming. I went up in the mostly because I focus in photography, so I'm a documentary photographer. If you've seen that picture of a dad and a disabled kid that went viral, went to KMJS, so I took that photo in Onut, and yeah, I didn't bring the photo there. So I went to the Akara tribe, I went to different tribes in Thailand just to get their story, and that's what makes me feel alive, you know, to really just go up there and know their story. Yep. Next. Oh. Right. In Bangkok Patna School, this is what I do. I produce TEDx videos. So basically, I direct them. You know, when they're doing TEDx live, I direct them to what camera needs to go. Also, this is for the in classes videos. We do like introducing atomic theory. Like those are the videos that I'm trying to convey what we do at school. Anong ginagawa ng mga bata sa eskwelahan, so that the parents can see that the kids are really doing. And it's very tricky when it comes to like video content because you really need to catch what really. Alam niyo yun, kapag nag-shoot kayo, sometimes hindi makuha kung ano yung nangyayari. Like alam ba, nag-vlog ka, parang ang ganda ng scenario, pero parang hindi naman ganyan yung itsura nung nakita ko sa video. Parang alam mo yun, everything was fake, everything was. But here, it's very tricky because inside the classroom, it's always dull. Kids are bored. You know, you really need to make it, paano ba masasabi? Tell the story according to what really happens inside the school. So next, yeah, outdoor classroom, and I am, sorry, it's okay. Wow, nakita niyo na tuloy lahat. So this is one of the videos that I am so proud that I did because this is something out of my comfort zone. So I did a choreography video of a Black Parade by Beyonce of our dance. I think you've seen that because I don't know, but yeah. So it's with the use of gimbal and camera and stuff like that. So like okay, push forward to like the main topic that we're gonna talk about. Kuya, the next one. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna talk about phases of video production. So like when we're creating video production, wait, let me ask you first, are there any film majors here or who studied film? There you go, Bert, yeah, right? So you guys are gonna be familiar, you can correct me or whatever. But this is what I do, this is the practices that I'm doing so that I can capture the story I can, basically capture through the camera, through the lens, kung ano yung nangyayari. Right, so in this phases of video production, we have 3 phases. The first is the pre-production, which is, I'll tell later, the production and the post-production. But before that, can you go to, sige, forward. Sige, forward mo kuya. Sige, forward. Sige ba? Yeah, the why. All right, so this is a big question, actually. Actually, I put it in a small because this question is always something that parang we don't focus our attention. That's the reason why we're lost in what we're doing. We're lost in our topic. We're lost in our niches. We're lost in bakit nga ba? Bakit nga ba tayo gumagawa ng videos? Whether we like it or not, creating videos, you are communicators. You communicate something. It's either you're promoting, it's either you're, sabi nga social media, we are influencers. But the question is, what kind of influencers are you? Big question, right? Like in the next generation, ano ba yung i-contribute natin sa society? There's a big chance that kids are watching your videos because it's in YouTube, it's available anywhere. And once you put it out there, it's available for anyone to see, for everyone to see. And what kind of influencer are we? Are we the bad influencer or the good influencer? I always ask that myself. So before I create a content, I always go back to the values, why I'm creating content, why I'm creating videos. What are your values? Those are the questions that siguro hindi natin na-ask sa atin. Kasi we are so excited. Editing, post-production, like sobrang cluttered yung mind natin kung ano yung mga technical skills, paano ba mapaganda yung content natin, paano maging cinematic, paano maging pro. But the thing is, it's very important that we consider our narrative. What are the narratives that we talk about here? Katulad yan sinabi ni, I forgot her name, I'm sorry, like the former tourism head, Khan, yeah. So she said it's important because we're communicating something to the people. Are we just like, sige, ang ganda dito, trending to, so let's do it. Always go back to your values. What are your values? Because you will put it out. I have in my photography, in the years that I've been doing journalistic and documentary photography, I always have this question in my head. Not a question, but a phrase that I need to remember every time. Whatever you include in your frame is your responsibility. Whatever you include in your frame, whether it's a Buddha or whatever, you need to know first what are the implications when you show it outside. You need to be very, very careful on that. On that note, gusto ko lang paalala sa ating lahat na before we do a content, we need to go back to our values, who we are, why are we creating this content. Bakit gusto ko magmukbang? Bakit gusto ko it's okay. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad because you're promoting delicacies, good food and all, but what kind of, mukbang are you doing? I enjoy most of the mukbang, mostly the 7-Eleven mukbangs here in Bangkok. Which is pretty cool. They just buy whatever they can find in 7-Eleven, which is pretty cool because they're showing the differences between the 7-Eleven in the Philippines and the 7-Eleven in Thailand. That's good. You're promoting something. But if you're just basically following the trend, like, okay, let's eat it and all, it's almost like you're fooling yourself or creating a content that will not make an impact in someone else's life. Bakit ba more? Kailangan ba laging deep ba lagi dapat yung video? Well, I think it doesn't have to be deep, but it has to make sense. Yeah. So, yun lang, para ma-eliminate lang yung stress sa atin na, trending to, kailangan ko gumawa ng ganitong video. Related ba yun sa ginagawa mo, sa niche mo, sa values mo? So those are the questions that I always ask myself. Those are part of my best practices. Para ma-eliminate din kung ano yung mga confusions when creating content. Kasi it will add up. Mag-i-edit ka pa, mag-shoot ka pa. When you eliminate all those things, I think it's good. You can proceed now to the first part of the phase of video content. Yung planning ko yan. Yeah, next. Sunod lang. Yeah. So yeah, here we go. Plan, 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 plan. You can never get tired of planning. Why do we need to plan? You can tell me, Mark, well, ano lang naman ako eh. YouTuber lang naman ako na maliit and all. Bakit ko kailangan i-follow yung flow na yan? Whether you believe it or not, you're doing it without thinking about it. You know, nakaisip kang gumawa ng content about food or something. Of course, there's a planning that comes in that. You watch, you research, you know. In this phase of planning, this is very crucial. Why? Kasi dito mo kukunin yung paano ko ito yung lahat ng mga bagay na kailangan mo para sa video mo. Paano ko ito gagawin? Logistics wise. Magmamatch kaya yung team nito dito sa gagawin ko? So, all these things happens in planning. Sabi nga nila, I always remember this as well, failing to plan is planning to fail. So if you don't plan, it's just like chop suey yung mga nangyayari dun sa content natin. Kaya hirap na hirap tayo i-pull out kung ano yung message na gusto natin i-convey sa tao. Alright, next. Next po. Filming. Ito yung medyo isa sa mga matutugo na part. Sometimes we always tend to overthink filming. You can say, oh, Mark, I want it to be some sort of like cinematic, because that's what I do. Like example for me, I do documentary filming. There are so many terminologies and technical stuff that I would love to share with you, but they just gave me 15 minutes. But yeah, let me run through all these things. One tip that I'm gonna give to you when you're filming, go manual. Like if your phone, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your camera. If you're actually using DSLR or what do you call that, mirrorless camera, like what I'm using, go manual. Why? Because if you want to look natural in the video, we use 24 frames per second. What is that, Mark? 24 frames per second is like looking out in the window and seeing the exact thing. That's the reason why filmmakers are using 24 frames per second. That is because it kind of mimics the reality that we're seeing. That's why, if you don't know what 24 frames per second, nandun siya sa settings natin sa camera. And if you have questions about that, you can always go to my Instagram or you can just like send me a message and then I would love to answer your questions. So yeah, one tip to make it more natural, 24 frames per second. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You can do it in your iPhone. In the camera settings, there is depende kung anong iPhone. Pero dun sa camera settings, there is an option there. Go to settings, camera, and then frame rate.
Camera.
You can also do it like manual. So Filmic Pro can do as well. And then you'll see the option of 30 frames per second, 30 to 40 frames per second. That's what they use in televisions. That's why parang medyo plastic yung movement nila. Ikukumpara nyo siya sa 24 frames per second that they use for cinematic movies and all. Yeah, you know. You found it, Pupol? Yep. Good. That's what I'm gonna suggest. Film it that way. Even your stories on Instagram, I would film it that way. 24 frames per second. It looks good. Looks cinematic. So yeah. What else? So filming. Ano ba? Transitions. Whenever you do transition, it has to make sense. Sometimes hindi mo kailangan gumalaw when you're doing a transition. Say, like I'm vlogging. Sometimes hindi mo kung merong gumagalaw sa background, kung may taong naglalakad and all, sometimes you don't need to move or pan or whatever. Because that will create so much motions and blur and people will be like, busy. Nakakahilo tong vlog niya. Papanoorin ko ba to? Parang roller coaster
Okay.
Diba? So like if you're vlogging, if you're on a location that there's a lot of movements going on, I would say put a tripod on, stand on there, and say something. Parang ganun, like, what's going on, guys? Like the intro ng mga vloggers. That's what I suggest. Do like minimal movements. But if we want to transition from one scene to another, it also has to make sense. So yeah, maybe later I'll show you some of the transitions that I do. Most of my vlogs, if it's like vlogging only, I only use my iPhone. I don't, well, I use the pro camera sometimes, pero pag tinatamad ka na di ba? Kaya naman pala ng iPhone, why not? So, that's what I do. Filming, actions. Yeah, I think that's what I can say. Next, well, editing. Ito yung mga pinakamadugo na uupuan nyo. Who can relate na parang mas matagal pa yung editing kaysa sa shooting. Because you can't decide, ano bang footage na gagawin ko dito sa ano na to? Diba? What are the things? Ano ba? Wait lang. Ang gulo, parang ang gulo. Isasama ko ba itong sinabi ko na to? Oh, na. It's so hard to decide. And that's the reason why you have to go back to your planning. What are your initial planning? What do you need to include in your final production?
Sa planning pa din ako,
Oh,
friend.
ganda. Yeah, so editing, dito papasok yung snipping of footages. Ano ba yung kailangan yung isama? Ano pa ba? If you want to look cinematic, you guys use presets or like changing colors, right? Like sa camera, because I want it to look more like a movie. This is what we call color grading. Yeah, so you can do color grading as much as you want. Like if you're following Peter McKinnon, Sam Calder, they are amazing. Watch their videos. They are my kind of like idol when it comes to color grading. But of course, it has like because even iPhone footages, you can color grade them. I'm gonna show you later. It's just amazing what you can do with your phone, mobile phone. It's just amazing. But malala. It's okay. That's okay. Anyhow, kahit nawala yan, parang tatandaan ko naman yung skill ko. Yeah. Right. Yeah, okay, I'll show it later. So yeah, color grading, editing, yung mga pinakamadudugo. So bear in mind that the editing would be easier if you planned well. If you plan what you want to show. Right? Okay. And then, yeah, I think that's the best part of filming because when you're editing, I think before I don't enjoy editing so much. Pero na-realize ko, this is the realization of the craft that you are doing. Regardless if it's just like a vlog that you say, oh, okay, this is just like a daily vlog that I'm doing. But with the colors that you're doing, you can relate a story with that. The transition of, a soft, smooth transition from one scene to another. Yeah, if you want, I always set a goal for myself. Because like, even if I'm doing it every day, I still have some goals that I set for myself. Every year, I need to level up the quality of video that I'm doing. If it's leveling up or buying a new gear, because you understand it, do it. If you're passionate about this, you will invest. I'm not saying get the most expensive camera or whatever, or use what I'm using. I'm using a microphone that is Rode or like EOS R5. Doesn't have to be that. It can be something that is, affordable for you. Something that you can afford for now. But I think it's very important that you set a goal for yourself to develop, because there's no way in this industry but to go up. Or else you will just like feel like, okay, I don't want to do it anymore. If you don't kind of like develop yourself, you will just stop doing it. It will not, because if you don't realize it, it's not enough, or it's not very tangible enough to propel you into action, into continuing this like industry. Mahirap, as in matrabaho talaga to. But if you're passionate about storytelling, telling your stories, or if you're only like, gusto ko lang maraming subscribers, or gusto ko lang maraming followers, it makes me feel good about myself. I think that is a weak reason for you to create a video or continue doing it. Kahit na kumikita ng million, it will just ruin your life because you're not in your core of doing it. Keep your passion. Go back to what your values are, and that's it. I think that those are the most best practices. I have last one thing. Sorry, Jezreel, I really need to share this to them. Workflow. If you have a really good workflow, everything will smooth out. Sobrang dali lang. I can share with you a folder, a Google Drive, of how I folder my things. So like, 1, footages, 2, music, 3, maybe some of you are doing that already. It's very important kasi para hindi rin chop suey kung ano yung, alam niyo yan, para hindi chop suey yung kung ano halo-halo na ba. Ang hirap, mahirap makita sa Finder, mahirap makita. So I'll share with you if you guys want a copy of that folder system that I did. Well, actually I copied it from the last training I did. I can definitely share it with you guys. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know, can I show them a real quick video of what I do?